everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me MG if you'd like. Today is September 1st. It's just past 7 p.m. because I was at work most of the day, so I could not get this started. But it's fine, we're here now, we are kicking things off. It is time once again for the Magical Readathon, one of my favorite readathons of all time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Magical Readathon is hosted by G over at the channel Book Roast, and I will leave her announcement video down in the description because I'm sure she could explain it way better than me. But the gist of it is that you are attending a magical school and you pick a calling, which is basically like a career, and depending on which calling you pick, you have to attend certain classes and read a certain number of books for each class, and those are the prompts that you read for the readathon. My character, Berenice, is going to the school for the Moon Warden calling. Sorry, this loud car outside just distracted me. I think I said in the spring semester that this was her last year in the calling because you can do up to 4 years, but I did go back and look at the very first year that we did this, and she was not in fact going to be a Moon Warden. Her first year she was studying to be a Godseer, which means this is only the 3rd year as a Moon Warden, which means I get 1 more year with her next year, and that's just delightful. That is neither here nor there, though. Basically, the Moon Warden calling, I have 4 different classes that I have to take. 2 of them I need to read 1 book, and the other 2 I have to read 2 books for a total of 6. So we're going to read 3 books in this vlog, and then 3 books in a second vlog. The first book we're going to read is for Elemental Studies, and the prompt that I have to cover is a book with water on the cover, and I will be reading Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. This is a book that's been on my radar for a while, actually, but I've never been, interested enough to go out of my way to find it. I know Jess from the Hex Library enjoyed this book, and that's good enough for me, because Jess and I have very similar reading tastes, I feel. But even before she read it, this is one that I was like, that sounds like it could be interesting. So I'm going to read the back for you. It says, on her 12th birthday, Sophie Mercer discovered that she was a witch. 3 bumpy years later, after a prom night spell gone horribly wrong, she's exiled to Hex Hall, an isolated reform school for wayward prodigum, aka witches, fairies, and shapeshifters. By the end of her first day, Sophie has quite a scorecard. 3 powerful enemies who look like supermodels, a feudal crush on a gorgeous warlock, a creepy tag-along ghost, and a new roommate who happens to be the most hated person and only vampire on campus. Then, when a mysterious predator begins attacking students and Sophie's only friend is the #1 suspect, a horrifying plot begins to surface. Soon, Sophie is preparing for the biggest threat of all, an ancient secret society determined to destroy all prodigum, especially her. So it definitely just sounds like something up my alley. It's not very long, it's only 300 something pages, so I don't expect it to take me super long to read. But this week I do have work pretty much every day, so it's Monday, and from today all the way through Friday I am opening at work, which means I worked 11 to 5, so today it doesn't matter because like I said it's already 7 p.m. But the next 4 days, I'm working 11 to 5, the entire middle of the day, so I can't read while I'm there. But other than that, I will be focusing on reading. Oh, there's a cat on the cover, I didn't realize. But yeah, the water on the cover is this reflecting pool, by the way. So I think what I'm gonna do is get dinner, because I'm just now realizing how hungry I am. I'm gonna do that. And then I might just get into bed and get some reading done, because I had quite an exhausting day at work. We were slammed because it's Labor Day, so everywhere else was closed, so I feel like everyone was like, let's go get ice cream. For context, I work at an ice cream shop. So yeah, I'm tuckered out, and getting into bed and checking in on this would be a nice end to a hectic day. So I will do that and give you an update probably tomorrow morning. friends, I have an update for you like I promised. So I was in fact reading Hex Hall before bed last night, and I got a little bit past 50 pages, so a nice little taste of the book. And it's a lot of setup because it is the first 50 pages of the book. Basically, we have Sophie, who didn't know that she was a witch until she was 12 years old, which is about the time that magical abilities manifest, not just for witches, but also for shapeshifters and fairies, which exist in this world. And she didn't know she was a witch because her parents split before she was born, and it's because apparently her dad told her mom that he was a warlock, and she's like, "You're actually crazy," and she didn't want anything to do with that whole thing, but she still, like, the mom still educated herself on witchy stuff, but just kept it from Sophie until she couldn't anymore. And so Sophie's had a little bit of trouble. She's had to move a bajillion times because of magical mess ups. And the latest thing is that she performed a love spell for someone at their prom, and it had kind of disastrous consequences. So she ends up being sent to Hecate Hall, which is called Hex Hall as like a joke or a shortening or whatever, which is basically where all of the fairies and witches and shapeshifters who have trouble fitting into human society and keeping the magical world a secret get sent to, like, learn how to be better at being secretive, I guess. So we arrive at school, we learn some lore about the magical world and the origin of these different magical species. We meet a bunch of characters, including Sophie's new roommate, who is, in fact, a vampire, the only vampire on campus. And we get some inklings of mysteries going on campus. We learn some rumors about things, and it's a very fast read, which I appreciate. Which, I mean, the font's pretty average size, maybe a little bit bigger than most books, and it is YA, so I expect it to be a fast read, but I still appreciate that, and I am very intrigued to see where the rest of this goes. So I do have to get ready for work in about an hour, so I'm not going to do any more reading this morning, but I will be picking it up this afternoon/evening, which I feel like is how this whole week is going to go, where I'm not going to pick this up in the mornings, but I will read at night, I guess, and update you when I have more updates on it. Hello, friends. It is Wednesday at 8 p.m., hence the awful lighting right now. Excuse me. I have had an awful time lately. Yesterday, after work and into the evening, I started feeling a little bit under the weather. And I'm like, oh, like, it's that time of year that I always feel a little bit sick. Like, the changing of the seasons really messes with me. Then, this morning, I woke up with a 102-degree fever and a cough, as you've already seen. I had really bad brain fog and, like, a headache. My, like, sinuses were so inflamed. It was awful. I luckily found someone to cover my shift at work, my dear friend Nava. So thankful for her. She's such a great friend. Anyway, I didn't go to work. I didn't get out of bed until like 1:30 in the afternoon. Once I found cover, I just went right back to sleep. And then at like 1:30, I got up, I took a shower, which took like everything out of me, so I had to go back to bed for a little bit. And I've kind of just been chilling the entire day since then. Give me 1 second to clear my throat. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, as part of my chilling, I have been reading a little bit, and so now in Hex Hall I'm about halfway through. Honestly, I expect to make a little bit more progress, but I will be reading for another hour or so until I go to bed. But we are getting more of kind of everything, actually, like world building, because Sophie doesn't know anything about the like magical side of things, she learns that her dad is the head of the council of the Prodigum, and so he's the one who basically sentenced everyone who's there to go to Hex Hall. We get more character development for Sophie and several of the side characters. There is a lot of like cheesy YA-ness to this, but it's fun. This came out in, let me see, 2010, and like it kind of shows, but I don't know, I'm having a fun time. I'm not absolutely loving it, but it's still pretty good, so I will keep reading. Hopefully I can finish this tomorrow. Fingers crossed I feel better and I can actually go to work. I'm like low-key paranoid that I have COVID again, but I don't really think that I do, but I did send my boyfriend out to get a home test just in case, so when he gets home I'm gonna be doing that. Anyway, I do feel leagues better than I did this morning, so that's great, but hopefully I don't have to deal with finding cover again, because it was kind of a nightmare because so many people at my job are in high school or college, so like they're gonna be in school in the morning / early afternoon, which is when I'm scheduled this whole week. So yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of just rambling now. I'm gonna get back to this, and I guess I will see you when I finish it, whether that's tomorrow or not. Hello friends, and happy Thursday, I believe. I don't even know at this point. I have some updates for you. So it is 5:45 p.m. I've just gotten back from work. It sucked, but I did go in today because it turns out what I have is a sinus infection, which thankfully is not contagious, but it also kind of just sucks. So I sound super congested because my sinuses are inflamed and I can't breathe through my nose. It's lovely. Anyway, work was rough, but I'm home now, waiting on pizza to get here for dinner because neither myself nor my boyfriend felt like cooking. This morning, literally right before work, I had zero time to update you because I finished right before I had to get ready and leave, but I did in fact finish Hex Hall, and this was fun. It kind of gives Vampire Academy vibes, but slightly less melodramatic. Oh my god, cough is gonna be the death of me. So if you like Vampire Academy, I just hit myself in the face. I am doing so great. If you like Vampire Academy, you might want to check this out as well. It certainly wasn't the best thing, but I did enjoy it, and I will be continuing on with the series. Pause for a coughing break. Okay, I am back. The next class that I'll be covering, because I only had to read the one book for elemental studies, so I'm moving on to astronomy, and I have to read 2 books for this class, and there will be the last 2 books for this vlog. So first, for the lowest level, I have to read a book with a character that has an invisible illness, and this prompt, first of all, love it no matter what, but I especially love it right now because it gives me an excuse to put a reread on this TBR that I would have been doing anyway, and that reread is of The Bone Houses. If you've been around for any amount of time, then you probably already know this, but this is my favorite book of all time. I reread it every September as a birthday gift to myself, and I think this is going to be the 5th time I'm reading this book. I just absolutely adore everything about it. And there is a character in here who has chronic pain due to a childhood injury, and I love the representation and how it's portrayed. I think it's done so well. So this will be the next book that I pick up, and I'm so excited. I'll probably crack into this at night when I get into bed. So I'll see you when I have an update. friends, wow, oh, that was rough. We have some elephants to address. First of all, it is Saturday. It is like 6:30 something at night in the evening. I don't think it's quite night yet. But I have just finished The Bone Houses. I did not give you any updates while reading this for a couple of reasons. One, this is my 5th time reading it. I feel like I don't really have anything to say when I'm reading it except how much I love this book. Otherwise, I would not be reading it for the 5th time. But also, if you can't tell, excuse me, oh my god, I'm very sick. This congestion and cough is not just from crying, although I did in fact cry. Yes, I've read this book 5 times now, and yes, it's made me cry every single time. Oh my god, I need a sip of water. Ugh. Yeah, so this sinus infection. Did I tell you it's a sinus infection? I don't know when the last time I talked to you was, but this sinus infection is killing me. It's rough. But yeah, yesterday I ended up leaving work at 4 instead of 5 because it was just so much tension and pain in my face that I could not stay. I stayed until the closing manager came in, and then I was like, I gotta go. So I left work early yesterday. Thankfully, I was off today, and I'm off tomorrow, so some nice recovery time. I do have to work on Monday, but whatever. My boyfriend went to the beach today, so I've been home alone the whole day reading. That's literally all I've been doing. So I did in fact read The Bone Houses and finished it, and I couldn't have asked for a better book to read while I'm sick. This truly was just such a comfort read for me. I am so happy that I read it again, and I'm already looking forward to reading it again next year. I think maybe next year I'll check out the audiobook because I have not yet listened to it. And I feel like that might be a nice little change of pace. But yeah, if you take nothing away from this video, you should just read this book. That's the only thing you need to take away from it. I don't think I told you what it's about. Basically, you've got this girl, Rin. She's a gravedigger in the small town of Colbrin, and her siblings are at risk of being displaced and separated from each other because of a lack of guardians in their household. She teams up with this guy, Ellis, who is from the city. He's a map maker, and he comes saying that he wants to make a map of the area because it's on the edge of this forest where the other king, like the king of the fairies, basically used to live before he fled and took all the magic with him, but there's still, like, magic lingering, and some of that some of that lingering magic is in the form of bone houses, which are basically zombies, the risen dead. And so these dead start attacking the town, and so Rin is like, yeah, I'll take you into the mountains for your own, like, goals. This is her to Ellis. Also for the money that you're gonna give me, but now we also have to stop the magic that's got these risen dead attacking my town. So, that's a really poor explanation of the plot, but that's the gist. It's just so good. It's such an amazing book, and I love it so, 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 so much. But with that done, we only have one more to read for this vlog. And if you'll give me a second, I have to open up my document that tells me what the prompts are for the Magical Readathon, because I forgot to do that before I started filming. Okay, so The Bone Houses was the first prompt for astronomy, or the first book for astronomy. The second prompt is to read a genre that you don't often pick up, and for me, I have gone with nonfiction, and the book that I'm going to be reading is Civil Disobedience and Other Essays by Henry David Thoreau. How many are actually in here? There are 5. Civil Disobedience, Slavery in Massachusetts, A Plea for Captain John Brown, Walking, and Life Without Principle. Oh, Civil Disobedience is the one that interests me. The rest, I'm sure they're fine, but, like, I don't know. I picked this up purely for the fact it is a Dover Thrift Edition, and that is an edition of books that I collect. I have probably like 30 of them at this point, maybe even more, and so I want to read this one to put it on the shelf with the others. I have them in a nice little rainbow order, and this lovely shade of green is going to be wonderful in that rainbow. But yeah, I was going to say I don't think this would take me long because it is only 90 pages, but it is also, excuse me, essays from the 1800s. So we'll see how long it takes me. I might actually just tuck in and keep going tonight because my boyfriend is not going to get home for a while. The next train back to the city isn't until like 7:15, and then he's still got plans to do things in the city with his friends afterwards, so he's not going to get home until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So maybe I will start on this tonight anyway. Yeah, this will be the last book for the vlog, a complete change in like vibe, but it is the one that I put on the TBR, so it's what I'm going to be reading. Right now though, I am going to feed my cats, and then feed myself, and then I have to do the math, but I think it's been long enough that I can take another dose of medicine. So hopefully I actually do recover quite a bit this weekend, so I can go back to work on Monday feeling refreshed. Hello friends, it is a very rainy Sunday morning. As you can tell, I am still a little bit congested, still have a little bit of a cough, but I am feeling a lot better this morning than I was yesterday, so that is great. Still on the mend. And here to update you that I have read the first essay, Civil Disobedience, and crazy how almost 200 years later, it is still very applicable to today. It talks a lot about the responsibility of a government to serve its people and for people to resist a government that does not serve them. Let me actually read the opening lines to you. There's a lot of really good lines in this, but it starts off saying, I heartily accept the motto that the government is best which governs least, and I should like to see it acted up to more rapidly and systematically. Carried out, it finally amounts to this, which I also believe, that government is best which governs not at all, and when men are prepared for it, that will be the kind of government which they will have. So it basically talks about how a government that doesn't serve its people doesn't deserve to exist. Like, what is the point of a government that doesn't serve its people and doesn't serve all of its people? It talks about slavery. It talks about the war on Mexico that was going on at this time that Thoreau was staunchly against. And I just think it's very poignant. It's very dense and hard to read, as it was written almost 200 years ago, and that was the style. But I feel like this is still so applicable to today, which is saying something. We're not going to get too much into it, but I did find it to be a fascinating read last night. I will read the other 4, but I'm not going to update you after each one because I'm less interested in those ones. Although one of them is just called Walking, which is just about like the joys of spending time in nature and talking about conservation of nature, which is something that I'm also very interested in. So I am excited for that one. But yeah, I think I'm just going to update you at the end with my full thoughts and then come back to close out the vlog. Surprisingly, I think this is not going to be as low of a read as I expected, because I'm not a huge nonfiction person. I was literally just putting this on here because I own it because it's a Dover Thrift Edition, but I think I'm going to enjoy it more than expected. So, you can tell my brain is scrambled right now, but I just wanted to come hop on here and let you know how that went last night, but I do intend on finishing this today. Like I said, it's a nice rainy day, perfect for reading. I do have plans, but I don't know if they're going to happen because of the rain, so we will just have to wait and see. I will be back once I've read the other essays in this collection. Okay, friends, it has been, excuse me, a couple of hours. As you saw, I did snuggle my cat for a little while, but I also read the other essays in this collection. I don't have much to say. I did enjoy the walking essay like I thought I would. I think Thoreau is just so good at nature descriptions, and there was so much of that. I know, revolutionary idea that Thoreau is good at describing nature. That's kind of like the thing he's most known for. Oh my goodness, I'm dying. Anyway, I did read all of these essays, and I feel like I did get more out of it than expected. I'm glad that I read this. I'm also glad that I never have to read it again, and it now can just live on my read books shelf. But yeah, that's it for this vlog, I guess. Nice short one to end off on. But that is the first 2 classes of Aurelium finished, and I've got 2 more to go, so stay tuned, I think, for a little while from now for the second vlog. I think I've got several other vlogs before that one is going to be coming out, because we have the Summer Scare Readathon happening, and that's going to have its own vlog, and I think I've also got something else planned. So like maybe 3 weeks before the next vlog? I don't know. I haven't looked at my upload schedule in a minute, but like I said, we've come to the end of this video now. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one when hopefully I am not as sick. Bye everyone.